So traders, the dollar has created a bit of a false breakout to the downside. Now it's coming back up again. And that's also putting pressure on the gold market. The gold market's starting to get a bit top heavy now. We're creating a bit of a topping pattern in the gold market as well too. Silver as well too, what's going on there? Mining stocks. Also, there's a bit of a danger, guys, going on with the actual stock market right now. And something I was talking about with my inner circle coaching clients. And it's just, there's a massive, massive danger that's going on right now when it comes to the stock market. So traders, grab free access to my trading course. First thing in the description, you can see the details there. So let's actually go to, I want to start off with the dollar here for you guys, because one thing that I've been talking about and I've been mentioning now for the last probably a couple of weeks now, or maybe for the last week or so, I've been mentioning this time frame here. This is the weekly chart here. So let me just take off the moving average here for now, because it's not the thing I'm looking for. And I want to share something with you. There is a thing called price, and there's a thing called energy, okay? Energy in the markets. And this is something that I want to teach you something now where you're likely to get false breakouts of false breakups or false breakdowns, okay? So I want to teach you something here that's going to help you identify when something's likely to be a false breakout and when something's not likely to be a false breakout or false breakdown, right? Either way, up or down, false breakup, false breakdown. So let me show you something here. The reason why in the past I've been talking about, that's the weekly chart there on the dollar, and this is the weekly chart on the dollar, the daily chart on the dollar. And we're starting to get back above this resistance level here. And so one thing that causes false breakouts is this. If you think about the market like an energy field, especially if you look at this weekly chart here, okay, so the market is like an energy field, and the energy field is it's energy, right? We need to have we're utilizing energy, so we're using energy, and then we go through building energy, right? Using energy, building energy, using energy, building energy. Okay, so we go through these different phases in the markets, and because I always thought, because for me personally, I trade what's called a breakout strategy. Okay, in that free course, I teach you all about it. Now the thing for me is that I've always wanted to see what's going to cause a real breakout and a real breakout and a false breakout. So here's obviously different trade examples that I've done in the past and different things, right? So this is a breakout. This is the trade that I did back in 2017. Another trade. This is the trade here. You know, then I look at things like, you know, S&P 500. What happens when we get a breakout that has a big move? Okay, breakout here, NASDAQ, big move. You know, a big bar breaking down, and then we have a big move. So I'm liking what I call a breakout strategy. Okay, now the breakout strategy is in the back of getting in trades that's not likely to be a false breakout. Okay, so the purpose of me saying this here is, as you can see, I have dozens of examples of when we get the breakout of the sideways movement. When we get the breakout, what is going to give us the probability that breakout is a true breakout and not a false breakout? Okay, this is a gold 5-minute chart, you know, so on and so forth. Right, there's so many different things here that I can show you from a 1-hour chart, because my system works on every single market here. The purpose of me saying that is that my whole thing here, and as you can see, there's so many examples, trade after trade after trade after trade after trade, just so many trades I've done. Right, this one here. Right, NASDAQ or a stock chart, when we have the breakout, this breakdown here, what's going to give this the high probability of this being an actual true breakout or breakdown that now we're going to get some follow through to have what's called a nice good short-term trade. And I want to share this with you here so you can identify these trades, because if you are trading these breakouts or these moves, you want to be alert of this here, because this is going to give you a high probability of the false breakout, the breakup or breakdown being false and not a real breakout, okay? A breakup or breakdown. And that is the energy field. So think about the market like an energy field here, okay? So the energy field for me, whenever I'm looking at this level here, and this is when you can get potential really big reversals in the markets, is this. If you think about the market being an energy field, right? So if the market's going up, we're using energy, okay? We're buying it up. If we're going sideways through here like this, we're really just we're resting, right? We're not really using any energy, and we're not using any energy for the market to go up, and we're not using any energy for the market to go down. Make sense? So we're building it. But if the market's going down, guess what? Now we're using energy, right? What are we doing? We're using energy because now we're selling it. We're doing something, right? But if we're just going sideways and we're not really buying it, we're not really selling it, we're just sitting there idle. Now, here's the thing. If that's the case, and this is what in video number, in that free course, guys, I think it's number 4 and 5, I really got deep into this technique here in that free course. But the whole thing about this is this, okay? If that's the case, and everything is energy on the markets here, right? One thing I've noticed, and you'll see these breakouts here, is that if we have a major, if we have a major resistance line through here, and the market's been going up, 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 it might have like just a little pause, and then it keeps going up and up, and then we get the breakout through here. Well, this has been, back here was what? Back here was when the market started to utilize, it started using energy, right? So it's using energy, using energy, using energy, using energy, using energy. So it's used a lot of energy, and then we get the breakout. If we get that, this pattern here, there's a big probability that this breakout, after it's going up for a bit of time, for it to then actually, because then when it breaks out, then we're likely to reverse. As you can see up here, right? What caused this breakout to be a false breakout? Even though we had that major resistance level through there. In fact, the resistance line is probably more through there, right? Right through there. Yeah, probably through there somewhere. So when we did get a breakout through here, what caused this breakout to be a false and fake breakout? A false breakout. What was it? As you can see, look at this here. We ran up, we had a little pullback, but see how the overall move went up? So we were going up through here. We didn't get a really good time, a really good phase of building energy to break and run. So because of that, guess what? Now we had to move to the downside. So now we had to move to the downside. Guess what's happening? Now the same thing is for the downside, right? Which is what? If the market's doing through here and the market's been going down, 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 and then we get the break, this is likely to be one of those end of trend type of moves or a false breakdown, and then we start to see something like that happening in the markets. And so when you start to utilize all of what I've talked about here today, you start to see, oh, this is the reasons why dollar has had a high probability of it being a false breakout or false breakdown. And if you've watched my videos for the last few weeks, you know that I've been mentioning that I'm expecting the dollar to go up, and that's also going to put pressure on the gold market. We're starting to see that dynamic happening right now, okay? See how we come all the way down through here? Now, a real true breakout happens when we get an energy sort of building phase, right? And let me show you what I'm talking about here. So let me bring up, not this one here, this one here, right? So this is just more different examples. Anyway, so look at this here, right? Look at this here. So notice how we have what? Notice how we have, see this level through here, right? So we did get the breakout, didn't we? We come down, and we got the breakout. But then we actually what? Then we built energy and then went for a big run. See that through there? So what happens through here is we go through here, but then we need to see this energy building phase first before we actually see the big run. And so what we're seeing through here on the dollar is we're getting that, and now we're starting to see things like the 4 hour, even the 1 hour. The 1 hour is what? The 1 hour is starting to pick up through here, really starting to rise. And then we're starting to get this whole level through here rise, and we're starting to get our head poking back up here, showing that this dollar is now being a false breakout to the downside, and we're now likely to see a nice rise out of the dollar. And once again, due to the fact that this was a major, as you can see, this was a major level of support through here. And that's the reason why one of the reasons why I've been quite bearish overall. Like, we never know exactly when the exact day is going to be, but overall on gold. But we're seeing the dollar through here. Now, if I go to my gold chart, you'll see gold is also the exact same type of thing, right? For a big move to happen in any market, we need at least an energy building phase. And this is where traders right now thinking that this is going to continue up to 4,000 with no pullback at all. It's not how markets work. What we need, if that's going to happen, we need what? We need something like this here, right? For 2-3 months. 2-3 months. See these sideways phases? The market needs these what? Energy building phases, right? We use energy, then we build energy, then we're using all this energy, then we need to rest for a while, then we're going to release all the energy again, then we need to rest for a while, then we've just been doing this through here. We have no energy building phase through here. And there's a lot of traders out there, if you see, this is what markets do, right? We need an energy building phase first for us to go for another big move. If we haven't got any energy building phases, right now we haven't, this has been pretty much straight up. Now we're talking about, like, people think that gold's going to go to 4,000, 5,000. Massive probability, that we're not going to get that. And in fact, we're actually starting to get the rollover right now on this gold market from here. And if I actually, let me bring up my TC2000 platform, you're actually starting to see, we're starting to get this rollover now. This hasn't happened. This is faltering and failing now, right now. We're starting to get this downward sort of slope through here. And this is creating what? We're now creating a lower high through here. So look at that all this level from here. Let me actually bring on, I'll just bring on just the black bars from here for a minute. There we go, yep. So we're starting to falter through here. As you can see, we're starting to falter, come up. And this is the first time that it's doing what? It's actually changing the trend, right? Look at every other time this has happened. We get a pullback, we break and we run. We get a pullback, we break and we run. We get a pullback, we break and we run. We get a pullback, we break and we fail. You see that there, right? So this is where traders, the number one thing we can always do with these markets is stay flexible. Because the market's actually giving us, when we see this here, every time we broke a new high, we actually had a run. Broke a new high, run. Pullback, broke a new high, run. Pullback, didn't break a new high, failing. That's the high, that's a lower high. Now we have a chart, now we're probably gonna start that, we may have a bit of a pause through here for a bit. And then we're probably going to break down to here somewhere. We're going to fall, and we're going to come down to 2,900, somewhere around about there, on a bare minimum basis. And that gives you, an overall, a good, say, close to 20% drop from the highs. And this is where, guys, this whole area through here, okay, this whole area through here is why I've been mentioning for the last few months, guys, we're getting towards the end of this big bull move right now. It's going to end. And this is how it ends, right? We don't just go straight down. We start to what? We start to stop when we get lower highs and we start to fail. As you can see, we're failing through here. The market's given us a clear identification that this is failing. In fact, look at this see this big bar through here? See that big down bar from there? This is the first big down bar we've actually seen in quite a long time. We've actually maybe won through here, but it's actually failing right now. So we're probably going to get a more break to the downside from here. We are failing from here. And one of the levels I always like to see, I always like to use what's called 50% of large bars. So see this large bar here? Let me teach you something here. So whenever I'm looking out, there's a few things here, right? So whenever I'm looking out, whenever we get these small bars, but then we get a large bar, okay? So if we get these sort of move up, if we get a large bar like this level through here to here, what I'm watching for is I'm watching around the 50 to 60% level, because what can happen is this is short-term momentum here, right? Short-term momentum in the markets. And that means if the market comes down through to here and holds this level and then continues up, that's actually a very bullish sign. That's still very strong if we hold the 50% level. But what can happen is that if it doesn't, and we start to break down, and we start to get down now to almost 100%, now what's happening? Now we're starting to get what? Now this is actually failing the short-term momentum. Absolute short-term momentum is saying it's not bullish. If the market holds that 50 to 60% level, we're now very, very strong. And the reason why I bring that up to you guys now is we can see here from this low to high point, look what's happening right now. We had this big up bar, didn't we? Not only are we failing through here, we've struggled to push higher. Remember, this is up here is what? That's the all-time high, isn't it? That is the all-time high for here. So if this is the all-time high for here now, and the market came down and pushed up, and then suddenly we fail, that didn't happen back here, right? We didn't push up and fail. We actually pushed up the previous highs, and then we kept going. Boom, previous highs, move. We're stalling now. Lower high compared to that high. So because we're stalling now, and now we're starting to see this getting down to the 60% level, possibly even a bit lower than that, we're starting to get the change of tune. And not only that, but I see we actually have this big, remember I said before about the candles, right? So we see how we have this big candle down here. Look at this here, right? This is where it's going to get really cool. Check this out. See this big down or this big down bar through here? That's the last big down bar through there. See that through there? Look what happened. It actually ran up to where? 50 to 60% held and now rejecting it. On this big down candle through or big down bar through here, what is that telling us? That is telling us now that even though we tried to rally up this big down candle, it's actually stopping it right at that 50% level. As you can see, that 50% level has been really holding very strongly. And now we're starting to roll over from here. So everything is starting to change the tune right now. We're starting to get that dollar start to push up. With the overall weekly charts, if we look at this weekly chart, we know this weekly chart is what we talked about here before in the past. If we go down to the daily charts, and the thing is, guys, is I don't hate or I don't like gold. I'm just reading what the market's telling me, because if we just read what the market's telling us, we can make good decisions, okay? Where do we get in trouble? The market gives us some warning signs that things are not working or whatever, and then suddenly it's like, right? And so this is where this is the first time failing from here, and now we're probably going to start to see a move down from there as well too. Let's go look at the actual silver market right now, and silver is actually doing the exact same thing. We're failing through here, right? We've been coming down high, bit of a lower high through here, lots of volatility from here, and we're holding this level from here. If we do start to break down, then probably gold and silver are probably going to start to make our way down. Silver's probably going to come down through to here. Now, the interesting thing is people saying, well, I'm going to get into silver right now because silver's going to play catch up. Well, that's not the case, right? And this is where silver and gold are separate. Gold has been going through a parabolic move where silver's been not doing much, right? So they're not the same thing. And so now we're seeing that through there when it comes to the silver market from there. Let's go look at the mining stocks while I'm here on this level from here. If we go look at the last, say, 6 months, high, lower high, higher or higher low, we are definitely holding. One of the areas we want to see hold from here to here is, as you can see, we came down, to 50% and we hold, and now we're starting to develop here. We want to see this thing hold. If it does hold here and we start to get something like this going on, right, something like this going on, and then we start to break up, that's when we start to get something like that. That's when we're probably going to start to see another really big move out of the mining sector. But for now, we're going through one of these energy building phases, and sometimes the energy building phase can be nice and smooth, and sometimes it can be very volatile. So this is now in an energy building phase, very volatile, and the best thing to do is step aside and not get involved with that as well from there. Let's go look at the USO market right now, and just an update from the USO. So we're still seeing sort of USO being stuck in this overall sort of tight pattern through here, and we're actually getting a little bit of a sideways movement from here, like a bit of a sideways movement, and we're holding. If I bring up the let me bring up the oil chart. Now, what can happen with this here, and this is the reason why I'm not short oil yet, or the energy sector, because I need my confirmation. Because what can happen now is we can actually get a bit of a bounce here and have a bit of a rise for a while, and then maybe it rolls over. So this is where, guys, for me, trading is all about waiting for confirmation, because what can happen from here now, and this is where, like, I have my setup, but then I need my confirmation. And this is where I never jump the gun early. And therefore I'm not short right now, because no one knows what's going to happen, right? We need to wait for confirmation. Now, what can happen is, as you can see, we're starting to get what? See my moving average? This is my 24 moving average on my weekly chart. I use this as a momentum indicator. If the moving average is strongly trending to the upside like that through here on the weekly charts, trying to go short anything through here is very risky, because now the moving average is doing that. Now what we're seeing through here, right? We had a move down, we flattened out, and now we're starting to slowly increase down. So what may happen is we actually may rally for a little bit through here, then base out, and then maybe get a bit of a drop to the downside. That's what may happen. So we may be getting a bit of a short-term rally from here, and we may end up having a rise from this bottom, and we may end up getting a 18-20% rise out of oil come up through here to start to get into potentially that there, and then maybe it's going to take a few more weeks, maybe another month of not doing much to allow potentially, remember I said before about energy building phases, is that this moving average starts to come down through to here, and if we do something like this through here and then we get something like that, That to me would be absolutely perfect, right? So it may be spending another time through, maybe spending, and who knows, this could be a false breakout pattern, right? This down, it could hold here and then break back up as well too. So we just never know. So for me personally, guys, when it comes to these oil markets and stuff like that, I'm not short oil right now. I'm waiting for confirmation because we just never know when that's going to be. Once I get my confirmation, then I'm ready to pull the trigger. But for now, guys, again, this may be some sort of false breakout move, right? Especially on this weekly chart. We've been coming down overall on this weekly charts. So we could be getting, this could be a false breakout and we get a rally to the upside. I don't think that's going to happen. So for me, again, I'm just waiting for my setup to form across the oil market from there. So that's what I'm seeing there, guys, when it comes to the oil market and what we're seeing from there. That's the USO as well too. So in fact, if I bring up the weekly chart in the USO, same thing for the USO, right? We have been coming down here for a while. So it may, this is the 20 moving average. We may get the 20 moving average on that. And we may just do this here for another few months, right? And then we break. So that's what could happen as well too. It may not break as well too, right? So that's the reason why I'm not short right now, because it may not happen. It may just go straight back up. So, and then obviously looking at the energy sector from here as well too. The energy sector, the exact same thing, right? So I'm expecting a break, but it may not break. What can happen is, again, this moving average comes down through here, and then we just do something like this here for another month or two. Which, by the way, if that happened, that would be perfect. Perfect for me, for a really good what's called level 2 type of trade, where we have the potential of making a really big move in the markets from here, right? So let's go back to this time frame here. Actually, I'll bring up this chart from here with the moving average. And the Dow Jones. And the reason why I want to bring on the Dow Jones is, as you can see here, is that whenever we start to get the moving average, if the moving average is overall flat in any direction, right? So we start to get sort of a flat moving average is flat. That's momentum being flat in the markets. But whenever we start to get nice, strong trending, strong, and then we go flat. So the strong, when the moving average is strong to up or down, we've got a strong momentum in that level through there. And look what happens through here, right? Do you notice when we have a strong moving average, every time we get a drop, every time we get a pullback to the moving average is strong, boom. Moving average is strong, boom. Moving average is strong, boom. See how it just pushes it, right? Well, then for the flip side is also the same. Look at this here. Look at this moving average coming straight down from there, right? Rally to the upside. And then we could be getting ready for that, because the momentum is very, very strong on the downside from there. Looking at the NASDAQ as well too, and the NASDAQ, same sort of thing. So we are getting very close to, say, this level up through here. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see this thing push to the upside. But once again, looking at this moving average, look at this moving average from here. Right? This moving average is what? Coming straight down like that through there. So there's a real big probability. The last time we had this was this through here. See this through here? See that very strong down moving average? We had what? We had a nice rally, but then we got pushed back down again, didn't we? So there's a lot of weakness around this stock market from here. This rally here could be getting hit quite hard, because once again, the same type of thing, right? Whenever the moving average starts to go strong down through here, as we're getting through here, the tune has changed. Whenever the moving average is going strong up through here, strong, right? If the moving average is very strong to the upside, strong trending to the upside, there's a lot of momentum. And every time we get a pullback, bounce to back. Same thing here. Bounce. Now look what's happened. Now it's changed, right? Where we're coming up, we're probably likely to go up through there. And then we're probably likely to see a move on the downside.